Hi, my name is Mrs. Gregg. I am your English teacher for this course. So this is going to be your very first module. I wanted to walk you through what it is that I'm expecting of you. So let's go ahead and get started. You should already be in Blackboard. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can follow along. And I'm going to show you guys what your assignments are for this week. All right, so here we are in your Blackboard. And let's see, I have kind of a little pirate theme going on here. This is English 1301. So first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you're in the content section. I did leave you a little video that teaches you how to walk through Blackboard if you need a little bit extra information, but let's go ahead and go through this together. So here you're going to have your welcome course, and each of these things you're going to go through in order, basically. If you need to get a hold of me, here's your little envelope. So start off with meet your instructor. Here's your information on me. My office hours for this summer do change, so make sure that you're looking at the current version. Then here's the course video introduction on how to navigate this Blackboard page. And then most of your stuff for you to read. This is your input is going to be under the read this folder. And then your output is going to be in the do this folder. So this is all stuff that you can read through on your own. And you should always do the read this before you do the do this. So here are your tasks for the week. Let me show you a neat little trick. I do put all of your assignments onto your course calendar. So after you read through your syllabus, you'll see in your syllabus are all of your dates. So these can vary from class to class. So make sure that you're looking at the most current version in here. So you can see your homework for this week is going to be in this section. I'm going to be covering the first unit, which is your orientation. So these first two boxes are going to be what I'm going through in this video. So in your do this section, you see you've got some plagiarism, you've got a quiz, you have a reflection, you've got an email etiquette assignment, you've got how to set up MLA formatting, you have another reflection, you've got a know your why assignment, and you have a grammar quiz. So this lecture is going to cover the material for all of these assignments. It's very difficult to just do your assignments without having the information that goes with it. So here's your information that goes with it. And I will also upload this slideshow so that you can click on it and go through it at your own pace, or if you need to revisit it, you can. All right, so let's get started. So here's basically your homework for those sections. You'll have two reflections, a plagiarism quiz, email etiquette assignment, MLA formatting assignment, and a grammar quiz. All right. So part one, here's your course orientation. We're going to go over the introduction. I'll show you where to find the syllabus, some policies and procedures, and basically how do we do class. So just a little bit about me. My name is Gregg. You'll see there's Robinson in there too, because I got married and train wrecked all of my names together, but you could just call me Mrs. Gregg or Mrs. G, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm from Conroe, Texas. I'm an avid dog rescuer. I went to Howard Payne University for my bachelor's in English and Sam Houston for my master's in English and my ELAR certification. So I have both education certification as well as English. I have quite a few hobbies. We like to ride motorcycles, travel, read, play baseball, watch baseball, rescue dogs. I'm an avid gamer and reader. And this is where you can reach me at crobinsongregg@lit.edu. I'm located at TC 112B during the year. So one of the, you'll see that you have a reflection very regularly. A reflection is simply for you to look at what it is that you've learned that week, think about it, type it up in about 200 words and submit it as an MLA document. It's a pretty easy grade as long as you follow what I'm looking for. And typically what I'm looking for, I'll go over with in a minute. So here's some of this material for that. So why on earth are you in English class? So in order to help you with your reflection, go ahead and get out a piece of paper and kind of make a list of 5 reasons of why you think you might be in this English class. Probably because you're required to be in English class, but while you're in here, you may as well find some purpose, something that can move forward. And honestly, the short answer for any class that you are in is you're in college so that you can learn how to think and problem solve, which are all skills that you're going to need in the workforce. So once you get your list, got it? Good. Let's move on. Pause if you need to. So here are a few reasons why you do English class. Learning to use your voice is important. In class, out of class, whenever you're interacting with people or standing up for something, your voice and being able to defend your viewpoints, tell people what you think is the best way, or just represent yourself is important. This will give you more success in communication with people in your career, your personal life. Can't tell you how many times I've had to rely on my communication skills in order to talk to my boss or talk to a coworker or have some diplomacy. Also, for what it's worth, the better your grammar is, the more money you're able to make. It also adds to your credibility. If you fire off an email and it's full of grammar mistakes, nobody's going to listen to you. Also, nobody's going to want to hire you for a managerial position if you can't do something like write a simple email. So it can really dictate where you start off in your job, where if you might be starting off lower to the bottom where they're like, I don't know if I can trust this guy to send an email, or if you're starting off closer to the top where they're like, you know what, this guy does a good job representing, or girl, good job representing the company. I think I can trust them to be able to, craft some writing, write a grant proposal, things like that. If you want to know more about that, this link is live and you can go click on it in the slideshow that I've left you on the page. Organizational skills, those are for life. So time management, figuring out how long it takes you to do something, getting your stuff all together, being able to sit down, making sure your computer's working, those are all life skills. Research is used across all disciplines and careers. Can't tell you how many times my husband and I have had to look something up because we were sure that he was right and I was sure that I was right. So finding out what is credible, what you can trust, what you can is important. Present your point of view in a persuasive way. That's self-explanatory. And practice the different types of essays that you'll need in other disciplines. This will also give you some resources for your future education and career. You can use them for other classes. I've had students tell me that they were able to use what they learned in composition to help them out with the history class or philosophy class, or even if you go on to a four-year college later on. These are all fundamental skills. And this is a good, safe place to kind of work that out. Also, representation. You are using your voice needs to be represented. So add a few to your list if you did not get, if you got a few ideas from here, or put a few next to the ones that matter most. Save that for a little bit later so that you can use it in your reflection. So what are some things that you're going to need for this class? You're going to need, some sort of online textbook that I have given you in Blackboard. I'll show you where that is real quick. It's here under the Read This course textbook. There it is. You do have some reading from that textbook that you can see in your course syllabus. However, I do not test you over the material in the textbook. These are readings that go along with the skills, and they are a resource for you. All right. You're also going to need to have access to the working internet or be able to use a computer lab on campus. We have multiple computer labs. We have one in the Eagle's Nest that's very open to students. It's open late. And I don't think they're open on the weekends, but the LU library is open on the weekend and you can head over there if you need to use a computer. So do not wait to the last minute to turn stuff in, because having working technology is your responsibility. Helpful to have something to write with, something to write on, basic stool supplies, highlighter, pen, pencil, etc. And of course, an open mind. So take a minute to go pull up the syllabus on Blackboard and read through it. Take note of the attendance policy, the grade weights, important deadlines, and different resources. Figure out what my email is and what my office hours are. And then if you need to ask any questions, ask questions. I'll give you the short version here. On the syllabus, some of the most important things to note are going to be that this is an all online class, which means that there is no FaceTime required. And that I do measure your attendance by participation. So make sure that you are participating regularly. I also do not drop you from a course. So if you stop coming to class or you're not engaging or you throw your computer out the window, never to see it again, I'm not going to drop you from the course. That is your responsibility. You can talk to your advisor about that or go talk to the college about if you need to drop the course. I'm also expecting that you're going to be working pretty hard because this is a very short summer course and it goes pretty fast. So if you are not spending, I would say log in at least once a day and try to write down all of your deadlines because you can see that there's going to be something due every couple of days. And if you get behind, that's really going to affect you. So here's your course evaluation. You've got multiple essays we're going to be writing, a final exam, and short writing assignments and daily assignments participation. Grading scale is pretty typical. And then just a minute about academic dishonesty. That includes plagiarism, cheating, collusion. Some examples of plagiarism and cheating would be if you took something from the internet, copy and pasted it and turned it in as your own, not giving credit to the person who wrote it. But basically, plagiarism is whenever you turn something in, you say it's yours, you put your name on it, but you didn't actually write it. So artificial intelligence using ChatGPT or an AI bot, some sort of generative text program, that does count as academic dishonesty because it's something that that an entity wrote, someone else wrote, you didn't write it. And so if you turn in anything that is plagiarized or uses academic dishonesty or AI, then you will get a 0 on that. I use Starfish to make appointments. I have regular working hours if you need to get a hold of me. During Monday through Friday, I'm pretty responsive. I've got 24 hours to respond to you, but I'm usually a lot faster than that. If you're trying to get a hold of me on the weekend, kind of good luck with that. Sometimes I'll check, but it'll just be if you get lucky. So make sure that you're asking before Friday at noon if you need anything. All right, here's all your information on plagiarism and cheating. We are going to have a little mini course on that I'm going to get into here in a little bit, show you where to get to it. So I'll let you read that on your own. The other thing that's important for you to know is that I'm not going to be accepting late work. It is too fast of a course to be able to get behind. So the best thing for you to do is if you miss something, to just jump in where you're at. If you have some sort of extenuating circumstance, you know that have something coming up, something happened, I need to know 24 hours in advance so that I can give you an extension if I warrant that it is due. So please make sure that you read about the late work and makeup work policies. All right. And just so you know, you can find that syllabus for the course right here under Read This. So make sure you take a little tour of Blackboard that you can actually, navigate everything, take a little practice, make sure that you can talk to me, send me a message. This is something that can count towards your participation and attendance. So I want to make sure that everybody can get a hold of me, say hi, what's your favorite color, or favorite pony or animal, or what kind of food you like to eat, or whether or not you prefer Netflix to YouTube, doesn't matter. Just tell me something about yourself and I'll hit you back if I receive it. All right, so this is a part where I'm going to point you towards Blackboard to go look at your plagiarism material. So here's a document under Do This called Plagiarism and How to Avoid It. That's something that you're going to want to click on and be very familiar with so that you can take your plagiarism quiz. Here is the Cliff Notes version. So plagiarism is using someone or something else's intellectual property and taking credit for it, like using AI to write a paper. Copy and paste an article claiming that it's yours, have someone else write your paper, not give credit to your sources, using a paper you already got credit for, like say you turned in a paper in philosophy, and then I had a similar topic in my class, and you're like, hey, I can reuse this paper. Unfortunately, you already got paid credit for that paper, so you cannot do that. You also need to make sure that you are not unintentionally plagiarizing, like you read something and then you closed the page up and then you went and typed it up and you accidentally used it verbatim or you used too many words or phrases that are the same. That's unfortunately unintentional plagiarism and it still counts. It's kind of like the law. Ignorance is not an excuse to break it. So, if you want more on plagiarism, I have multiple links here, and then your homework is to complete the plagiarism quiz on Blackboard. We've got more videos, and I have an example of plagiarism if you need more information on that. So let's go to reflection. So pretty much every chunk of time, you're going to have a reflection, which is sort of like journaling. It's something that you can write in first person. You need to complete this digitally. You can do it physically, handwrite it, and then type it up, but the only grade that I'm going to be receiving is the typed version. So figure out which of the options that you're going to want to do each week. I usually give you multiple ones. You can always just write what's on your mind if that's in there as an option, and then pay attention for the requirements for each reflection as they include varied prompts and word count requirements. So we're going to start doing one of these reflections. So I'm going to help you set that up here in a little bit. But first, let's look at some of our reflection material. So after we do our plagiarism and how to avoid it, our plagiarism quiz, when you click on the reflection, you will see that it gives you options. After completing the exercise and viewing materials for lecture 1, hi, this is lecture 1. Prepare your journal for submission. So this week you're going to use your journal to complete the reflection of your choice. So your first choice is what's my story? You'll do a brainstorming web, put a goal in the middle, and then branch off different experiences that you have that led you to that goal. Then you can use your web to write about your goals and experiences. For each thing, you're going to include a title, reflection number, and a date in your submission. Make sure you use full sentences. This is not a to-do list. Option 2, write about why am I in English class? So that list that you just made, that you wrote down all the stuff about your English class and while you're there, this is where you can use it. This was a brainstorming activity. That means you're pre-writing. That's the writing before the writing. So every time we do a writing process, you're doing like a mini writing process for this. You're doing planning or brainstorming, kind of like your little outline. Then you're going to draft it up and then you will proofread it and then submit a final draft. So this is a good way for you to practice getting your writing in, and it's kind of low stakes. You will see a huge improvement in your writing if this is something that you take seriously. They're pretty short, it's only about 200 words, a couple paragraphs. Okay, then your second option, why am I in English class? So you'll need to submit one of those, not both, just one, as an MLA formatted document. So I'll go over how to do that. You're going to need to open up Word, or if you prefer to use Google Docs, that's fine too. So this is what I'm grading you on: MLA formatting, header with page numbers, title, reflection number. Make sure that it's 200 words or more, and I do check your spelling and grammar. So let's go ahead and open up a document, and I will show you how to do that reflection. The reflections will be the same every time. Not as far as content goes, but as far as what I'm grading. So call this reflection 1. And So first thing we need to do is format it in MLA. MLA is the Modern Language Association way of formatting. So that you're going to pick Times New Roman, size 12, and your paragraph style should be double spaced. So let's go ahead and write our header. So this will be your name. And see, I just tested my double spacing. It works just fine. And then your professor's name, which is Mrs. Gregg. Then you will put the class that you're in. Make sure you include your section number. And then the date that your assignment is due. And you do spell it out like that. You're not going to put 6624. That will be incorrect. So June 6, 2024. All right, then you're going to need a title and your reflection number. Here's your reflection number. So let's say I was deciding to use the Y English class. So I'll title it either what was in the option or something that speaks to that topic, just so me, your professor, knows what it is that you're looking for. Okay, so that's center align. And then once you start typing, you're going to left align it. Hit the tab button on your keyboard. Typing here. Whatever your function is. You should have multiple paragraphs typically. Remember, a paragraph is anywhere from 3 to 8 sentences or so. Try to proofread it when we are done typing. Now, this is where I don't really mind if you use like Grammarly or Quillbot, something to find your grammar errors only, not to write your essay. So sometimes the danger of using those is that it'll ping that you used AI. So please be really careful with that, because if it pings that you use AI, then you and I are going to have a different conversation. You get a 0 for it, and there are other consequences like having to talk to the chair, not being able to pass the class, things like that. So you should have at least 200 each. So we're going to have about 12 to 13 reflections in the course of this. This is your first one, and you will have a choice. Okay. Many times I'll give you the option to just simply write a diary entry. And that's kind of, therapeutic. Talk about what you're learning in class, whatever's going on. Just make sure that you're keeping it school appropriate. So make sure you turn in your final draft. That is all polished and pretty. Whenever you are doing this, this can be in first person. And it's a really good idea to read it out loud to yourself or read it out loud to someone else. And that's just good proofreading practice. So, all right. If you go up to the top into this header section, I did that by double clicking at the very top, or you can also go insert header footer, and confusingly, this top part is also called a header, but we're going to call it a page number. So you're going to right align that, type in your last name, and it always defaults back to Arial size 11. So change it to Times New Roman size 12. Everything's Times New Roman size 12. I know you're going to want to make that title big and beautiful and whatever, but no, it's got to be boring all the same. So once you got your last name only, yours, not mine, yours. So what was the student's last name? Dent on here. So hit space. Then you're going to put in your page numbers. You hit options, page numbers. Then whenever you go onto your second page, say you have a long one, it's going to auto-populate. Another way that you can do this is whenever you are inserting header and footer, you can also do page number and choose this one right here. Do not type out the 1, or it will say 1 every time. Okay, now that we have our reflection all handled, let's check to make sure we have 200 words. So you'll hit tools and word count. Oh man, I only have 79 words. And just a reminder, it's this part that you're looking for. So if you highlight it, it'll tell you, okay, I have 70 words. Okay. I need more words to be able to submit this, but let's pretend it's 200. Okay, add your word count, and then you're going to submit it. So a way that you do that, if you're in Google Docs, is that you have kind of an extra step. If you're in Word, you're not going to have to do this. You'll just save it. But download it as a PDF or a Word document. PDF's nice and easy. And then you're going to go and turn it in. Drag it in. Okay, so that is all done. The other way you can do that is you can click that attachment and then find it in there. Okay, I'm going to submit this. And the way that you know that it's submitted is now we have a happy little paper airplane. Submission date, awesome. We are good to go. And you'll get an email. Download your receipt if you need to. Okay. We're cooking with grease over here. Got one of our tasks completed. Okay. All right, so one of our options was writing about why we're in English class for your reflection. And a second option is going to be brainstorming a bit of your own story. So, doing a little bit of a personal narrative. So brainstorming basically is you create a brainstorming web is one method of doing it. And so in your brainstorming web, you put your main idea in the middle, and then you kind of spur all your other ideas off of it. If you need to go back and watch this video, go for it. But I'm going to show you how that looks. So the option is, what's my story? So put your goal in the middle, branch off at different experiences that have led you here. Use your brainstorming web to write about your goals and experiences. I'm gonna get my piece of paper out, and I'm gonna put one of my goals in the middle. So if I'm going to be going to school to be, or to get, let's say, I want to be a teacher. So I'm going to write my goal in the middle. Or if I want to put my own name in the middle and then talk about what got me here, I could do that too. This is a pretty loose prompt. Mainly, I want you to go through this experience. Okay, so now I've got my web started. And then I'm going to start putting in all of my different experiences, things that have led me here, people I love who've supported me. Maybe other classes I need to take. Maybe I didn't do so well in one of my classes and I need to try to pass that. Maybe I have some financial aid that was supported me, or, was a little bit of blocker. Maybe I had some sort of life event happen that's really spurring me forward. And so whenever I'm done, I'll have something that looks a little bit like this. And this can kind of give me some talking points. So once I've got all of my goals and experiences that I feel like talking about, I can write about that in paragraph form, making sure that I'm using full sentences, and I've got it set up just the way that I showed you right here. So if you were going to do this one instead, you could put "What's my story" as your title. And whenever you're titling it, make sure that you have capitalized all of your important words. Okay, so knowing your story, typing up whatever it is that you have here. A good way to do this is imagine if you were telling someone about it and then type that out. If you've got trouble with typing, like you've got dyslexia or dysgraphia, it's not a bad idea to use some sort of voice to text program. If you need more information on that, please just reach out. I will help you. Okay, next. Okay, so we got our reflection done. We're good. Just remember, you only have to do one. When it says reflection one, you do one. Reflection two, you do one. So every time you do a reflection, you're only doing one. You do not have to do all the options. Those are for you to choose what you feel like is going to help you the most. All right, so now that we've gotten our reflection done and our plagiarism quiz done, now we're going to work on our email etiquette assignment. So let's see what that is. Our email etiquette assignment is simply, oh, I'm going to skip down. Move it. Our email etiquette assignment is simply writing an email to me. This will be a grade. So here is your slideshow on that. So basically, you're going to be composing an email that follows all of these stipulations. So it's important to have etiquette. That means, following polite rules, being formal. So here are the things that you need to keep in mind while you're writing an email. Use your school email and address. No, you can enter a subtitle here. I don't need it. Let's delete that. Okay, so use your school email. Make sure you're using your LIT email so that I know who it is. If you're putting in sonic3700@yahoomail.com, I'm not always going to know who that is. I'll probably even think it's spam and throw it away. So if I see you got your school email, then I'm more likely to listen to you. All right, include a clear and direct subject line. So for this email, I want you to have your name, your class. I'm teaching multiple classes at the same time. And so if you tell me which class you're in, I can find you really quickly. And then 1 or 2 words about whatever your email topic is. Then make sure that you have a professional greeting. Here are some examples. Dear Mrs. Gregg, good morning, Mrs. Jones. So whenever you're doing your greeting, you're going to have it separated out here with a comma, and then you'll start off giving me your information. Make sure that you spell your recipient's name correctly. It's kind of off-putting whenever you get an email from someone and they've already started off the bat without spelling your name right. Make sure you use formal language. Don't use emojis instead of words. This is all stuff you already know. Spell them out. We're not going to use text speak. Capitalize your I. If you use all caps, I'm going to think you're yelling at me. And then remember that this is not a text to your mom or your best friend or your roommate. And you'll get the best results if you're humble and you're giving respect. Check your tone. So if you were going to ask someone, how's your day going? And they said, fine. You're going to think, ooh, they're not really having a good day. So it doesn't really matter what you say if you have kind of this tone. If you say, how are you doing? And they say, fine, then you know that that's something positive. It's kind of hard to translate tone in writing. So whenever you're choosing your words, you want to choose words that have a positive connotation, a formal connotation, rather than being kind of accusatory and negative. It really matters. If you need more information on tone, then you should be able to click on that and watch the video. So a couple of tips on making sure your tone is good. Avoid emailing when you're emotional. Wait until you're calm and logical. Be careful not to blame. Watch the use of you right out the gate. You didn't turn in these grades. You didn't do this. That's going to put your professor on the defense or your recipient. Remember that tone is hard to decipher. Don't make demands or ask for things ASAP. Your teacher has 24 hours to get back to you and plan accordingly. So Just because you didn't plan correctly doesn't mean it's an emergency on my part. So if I can help you with it, I will, but you got to give me enough time to work with. All right, make sure you end with an attitude of gratitude. Like, thank you so much. I appreciate your advice. Thank you for your patience. And then your full name at the end with a signature. Best wishes, warmly, sincerely. And definitely go back and proofread your email. Try to catch all of those mistakes. Some common errors are fragments, run-ons, capitalization, end punctuation, that's where you put a period or a question mark, and putting in quotes where you need them. Ultimately, remember that you're sending this to your professor and not to a friend. Make sure that you are respectful as if you were sending it to a boss. All right, so now you're gonna practice. You're gonna go send your instructor an email. The best way to do that is going to be, you have two options. You can type it here. And as you're typing it, make sure that you're following what I'm asking for. Or you can actually create an actual email, take a screenshot of it, and then submit it. Don't send me the actual email. So here's your scenario. You checked your grades, you have a 0 for something that you know that you turned in, and after checking to see if there were any submission problems, verifying what you did in fact turn in on time, you need to email your professor for help. So this is just a made up scenario. This is practice. So decide what your assignment is called. Just be silly, you can be serious, whatever you want. So make an email that has the correct subject line, which you're going to type, and then your greeting, a sign off, polite tone, appropriate content, and submit it to Blackboard here. So we're going to do it this way. So here's your example. Put your name, put your class, and then your topic. So don't just put missing assignment. Tell me what your actual, assignment is. So let's say it was grammar quiz 1. Then you'll start with your greeting. And then you'll put your content here. And then make sure that you sign off politely. So it doesn't have to be real long. It just has to address this, ask for a little help, and with gratitude. It's always okay to make suggestions also. When you submit that, done. Okay. All right, and then the last two things that we have here is how to set up an MLA document, which I already showed you, but if you need to go back and look at it, you can. You have a second reflection, which will give you two different options. So if you haven't used the Why Am I in English class, you can use that. You can talk about what is your biggest waste of time, or you can talk about gratitude. So multiple options for this one. And it'll be the same thing. You'll do it as your reflection. You can make a copy of this and then use the same kind of template. That's a really good idea so that you have your MLA template. And then you'll put the next day that it's due. And you can just start typing. Okay, you got your second reflection done. So we're gonna go submit that. Remember, you can't recycle reflections. They have to each be different. All right, that's done. Okay. All right, so our next assignment is called Know Your Why. So this is a writing assignment that you're going to do after you watch a video. So you can click on this video. Here it is. It's a man who's singing. And then you're going to use that video to write a little like mini essay. It doesn't have to be super long, just has to be a couple of paragraphs and using full sentences. So what are some goals you have for this class? So you can use some of your reflection stuff that you did with your um, brainstorming and think about what's motivating you to do those goals and then what support systems do you have in place. Once you have that typed out, so you're going to use MLA formatting for that. Once you get your know your why typed out, after you watch your video, you got to watch the video or it's not going to make sense. Then you can submit that. And this is your rubric that goes along with it. All right. So know your why. You're going to write this in a Google Doc as I just showed you. And if you need a refresher on how to do that. But basically, you're going to watch the little video, which shows this guy singing.
It's just called How Do I Know? And a lot of
I'll let you watch that on your own time. And then think about what some of your goals are based on the inspiration and the information from that video. So we've already submitted that. We already did that. But the last thing is that you have a grammar quiz. So your grammar quiz is going to be about parts of speech. And some of us haven't looked at parts of speech in a while. And so I gave you some information on parts of speech. So there's a review video to go over different parts of speech to help you with that. And I'll also put a little review sheet up for you to look at. And basically, with parts of speech, you've got 9. You've got a noun, which is a person, place, or thing. You've got a verb, which describes an action or a state of being. It could be is, am, are, or it could be an action, like she hit me. That hit would be an action. Or it could be a helping verb plus a linking verb, like I am running, which gives you an action, but it has that little helping verb on it. An adjective describes a noun or a pronoun, like what kind of puppy? A cute puppy. What kind of house? A brick house. What kind of chicken? Raw chicken. Don't eat raw chicken, it's gross. Pronoun replaces a noun, so like he, she, it, them. Pronouns are a hot topic these days, so you probably are pretty familiar with that. A preposition shows relationship between the words, so usually it comes in a phrase like it. I like to use a cloud as an example. Whatever can go into the cloud, around the cloud, under the cloud, above the cloud. Some people use a box, so like in the box, over the box, around the box, through the box, or a bridge shows where something is. Conjunction joins words and phrases, so those are going to be like or, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. And an adverb modifies a verb, an adjective or another adverb. So an example of that would be how you're doing something. Running quickly. How much food was it? Too much. Interjection is a short exclamation to express emotion. Wow! No! Help! Usually it has an exclamation point at the end. And an article shows what kind of noun it is. A, an, or the. A book. An, if it starts with a vowel. An apple. The desk. So we've got a little video that you can watch on that if you need a little bit more review on that before you go do your quiz. And I will also put up a little cheater sheet to sort of help you see all of those articles and parts of speech in one place. So once you finish your grammar quiz, you should be done with this first module. Give yourself a little pat on the back, congratulate yourself, and welcome to class. I'm so glad you're here. Please make sure that you reach out if you need any help at all. Have a great week.